All right, so where we left off last time was that we had this styled so far with the search and archive pages. One thing is I feel like this padding is just a little bit big, and I feel like this is a little bit too diminutive. So I'm going to show you really fast how you can adjust some of these last minute things that I think that maybe probably could have been better. So if I right click this and I go ahead and inspect this, you'll notice that it's our anchor tag. And one of the things that you'll find is I think that there's a little bit too much padding down here. And if you look at the padding rule that we had, it puts one rem at the top and bottom. So maybe what we could do is use 3 positions for the shorthand and say 1 rem for the top, 2 rem for the left and right, and then put another value of 0. And I think that that starts to look a little bit better, at least in this view. I can always test it like in Firefox or something later. So that's going to be around line 533 of our style sheet. So if I just go ahead and jump to that, let's just go ahead and grab line 533, and we'll make that change really fast. And it was me adding a 0 here at the end. We'll save that. And then the other thing that I wanted to do really fast before I address this entry title is if I right click on this area here, you remember that we had like the entry summary and all of these other things that padded. So the top and bottom were 0 padding and the left and right were 3M. I think maybe 3 is a bit heavy. So if we did something like possibly like maybe even 1.5, we could see that that starts to get a little closer in a lineup. Maybe even like 1.35, and then it lines up a little bit more with this formatting right here. And so that would be something on line, looks like here it's saying 892. So if I jump over here, we're going to find 892 and make that adjustment. 8, and it's right here. So we decided to change that to 1.35M. All right, we'll save that. And the other thing too that we're going to do really fast is let's style this. It's basically like the page title right here. So if you take a look at this, I think that, you know, compared to the way that each article title is kind of highlighted and called out, this is a little diminutive, and I'd like to promote it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead where it's got the page title here, and I'm going to click a plus symbol. And before I do anything, I'm going to also change it so that it is on the search page and the archive page as well. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to copy that, and we're going to do archive, but I'm going to add this word as archive. Okay, and the other thing now that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a background color. So let's just see what it looks like if we do something really bold. I'm just going to pick some color. Like right now I'm just going to pick black. So we'll do something that's really easy to see. And then if I take that and maybe grab that color, that might be an okay color to round it out with. And if I do something like that, I definitely need to do the text transform so that it comes up a little bit. Text transform, okay. And then let's do uppercase. All right, and then the other thing too that I might want to do is I need to pad it for sure. So let's try something like maybe top and bottom, maybe is 1. Let's try rem, not m. And maybe 2 on the left and right, 2 rem, something like that. And I think maybe the top and bottom might be a little bit heavy. So like we did before in the other one, let's say maybe 0 for that bottom. So it's 1 rem on the top, 2 on the left and right, and 0 for the bottom. And if we don't want it stacked just like that, we could give it a margin bottom, for instance. Let's try like 2 rem, something like that. And then it differentiates itself a little bit, stands out somewhat. And then if you wanted to mess around, you could also try something like, you know, font weight, and let's just see if maybe 400 stands out a little bit more, and I think that might be a little bit better. You could even try something like 600. That's a little bit too heavy, I think, maybe 500. 400. Okay, and then let's go ahead and see if we like that. Kind of take a peek at that. And I don't know, I might want to see what happens if we do change that to something a little bit heavier, possibly. We could also try something to see like what happens if we change the font family for this particular one to Oswald semi-bold, like that. And I think that might still be too heavy, so we could let's try putting a fallback. We can just give this a shot, and yeah, that doesn't work. So I think I do still like having the font family be the way it was, but then just making the font weight 600 instead of the normal 400 that we had been using. And so if I look at this inspector style sheet, I can just get rid of that. I'll copy this rule out, I'll copy that out, and I'll jump over here and I'll add this down below, and we'll save that. We can upload. Let's put that up there, and let's do a refresh, and that should take care of these pages. And I think I like this. It's kind of nice. You know, you might not like the spacing. You can do whatever you want, but this is the archive list. So if let's do a find for the search tool, right? And we can just look for, I think block quotes is what we looked for before. And this is the way it'll turn up whenever you are looking for something and it says, you know, search results for block quotes, right? All right, so I think that's a good way to go ahead and round out what we had talked about before. Now, the other thing too that we want to look at is, you know, adjusting the way that some of this stuff looks at the bottom, like the way that maybe we can have some tags that are little icons that show up here. You know, maybe we can have a calendar for the date. Maybe the person can have a little user icon and so on. And the way to do that, I'm going to show you just really quickly. If you jump over here into Dreamweaver and you go to your files, there is a folder inside of here that's called INC for includes, right? So if you look in the ink folder, and you're going to find, and by the way, this ink folder is the ink folder that is in your TopCat theme. It's not the ink folder that's somewhere else located in your main WordPress, you know, core set of files. It is in the TopCat theme folder. So look for the ink folder that's there, and then you'll see something here called template tags. Go ahead and open that file. And inside of that file, if you scroll down, you are looking for a function right here. It's saying if the function exists, TopCat posted on. All right, so this is, let me show you where this is being called up. If you go into one of your other files, for instance, like let's say content search, for instance. If you look in here, one of the things that you're going to see is whenever it's looking for the entry meta, it's looking for TopCat posted on, right? And then, you know, that's something that's going to pull, that's how it's going to pull the entry meta up, right? And so the place where we can make some modifications to this is right here. So we're saying, you know, if that function exists, then this is the function, or if that function, sorry, does not exist, that's a bang symbol, then we're going to create this function. And so this is where we need to modify the way that it's going to look if we want some icons to show up, for instance. All right, so what you're looking for is you're looking for the part that starts with posted on right here, okay? What I'm going to do is, so that I don't screw anything up and I can add to the code and always go back to something if I get an error message or something, is I'm going to take all of this all the way from posted on, which is line 81, all the way down through line 91. I'm going to copy that, right? I just put that in my clipboard by doing Command C or Control C on Windows. But I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go ahead while that's selected, and I'm going to put that inside of a comment block so that I know that that's commented out for right now. And then I can even put, I can go ahead and put something in here that's like another comment that says old original code or something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to come down below that, and I'm going to add the new set of code. well, it's the same code, but I'm going to modify what's there. Okay. So first of all, we're looking here where it says posted on. It's got this post date information right here. What we want is we want to be able to put a little icon in there that is essentially going to show up as a calendar. So um, the place where you would want to add that is after this comma and before the anchor. And actually, it's not. It's actually inside of the quotation mark because it's going to be printed as a string into the HTML. I'm just going to paste something and I'm going to highlight it and show you, so you don't have to watch me type all of it. So basically, what I've got is I've got, you know, if you remember back when I showed you how you could put in an open and closed icon tag that is going to be for the font awesome, right? That's what this FA is. It's a class is FA is font awesome. And then it's saying FA calendar. So it's going to load the actual FA calendar icon, all right? And then I have two non-breaking spaces. And if you remember from your basic HTML, a non-breaking space is just like hitting the space bar, but you can't have more than one non-breaking space unless you're explicit with it. And so I have an ampersand NBSP semicolon, all right, and then I have the same thing again. All right, so that's two non-breaking spaces consecutively. All right, so that's going to add a little calendar icon. And if you wanted to just see what happens, we could go ahead and save this really quick and let's just upload what we've got so far. We'll go ahead and put that up there. And if you wanted to come over here just to see what it looks like really quick, we can refresh this page. And you see right there, there's already a little calendar icon. You can see that if I were to inspect it, it would show up over here, and you can see that it's showing that I class equals FA calendar. All right, and then I've got my two non-breaking spaces. Okay, so there's that. All right, now the other thing is what we're going to do is we're going to come over here for the byline, and we're going to put something in for a little user icon. So I'm going to put my cursor just right inside of the, right after this single apostrophe right here, right in between the single apostrophe and the word by. And I'm going to, actually what I could do is I can copy this icon and this non-breaking space up, these two non-breaking spaces up here. I want to copy that, and I'm going to put the user icon right before the word by. And I'm going to change this from FA calendar to FA user, and that's the name of the icon. If you were to go to Font Awesome's website, there's FA user, and it's a little user icon. All right, and then you could save that and you could test it if you want. All right, and there's some other stuff too that we can also add. All right, so let's come down here, and instead of this echo right here where it's just like regular echo byline, what we're going to do is we're going to put an if statement around this. Okay, so we're going to say if, and let's go ahead and I'm going to take this last curly and we're going to come down here and put that there. All right, so and inside that if statement, I'm just going to paste something and I'll explain it. We're going to say if post, all right, is equal, or if it is test out to evaluate to be equal to get post type, all right, then we're going to do some stuff. Actually, let me back this up just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to tab this in so we can see what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this echo, and then we're going to keep the span posted on, and then we're going to concatenate it with the posted on. And then right after we end the span, okay, we're going to put a pipe, right? And that little pipe is going to have some non-breaking spaces. So I'll do ampersand NB SP semicolon, and then I'll just copy that and I'll paste it again. I'll just put a couple of spaces right there. If you don't have this, then you could also just style it so that there's space in between. That's fine. I'm just sort of taking a little shortcut right now. And then I've got my span and the byline. And so what it's doing is then it's going to print the byline here, and because remember, see, it's saying echo. Okay, so it's going to echo that byline, and byline is what we've already set up here with this little FA user icon, if you remember. Okay, and then we've got the ending span again, and so I'll put another pipe next to that with some non-breaking spaces. and then something is going to come after that. Also, we want to put a space right here before we actually end this. The next line, what we need to do is we need to prepare this for categories. So I'm going to just really quickly, I'm going to paste something, and I'm going to explain it so you don't have to watch me type the whole thing. So we've got a variable that we're creating called categories underscore list, and we're setting it to the assignment of get the category list, and that's a function, and inside that function we're putting 2 consecutive underscores, and then in parentheses we're passing 2 arguments right here, where we've got inside of these single quotes we've got comma and then space. And again, the space is going to be really important for the translators, and in fact, if I want to come up here, I can put a comment really quickly that says next line, space after comma is necessary for translators. Okay, all right, so that's something that's kind of useful to know. And then the second argument that it's passing is topcat, so that it knows you know, which theme is the appropriate theme. Okay, so because this is the translation is something that we actually set up in the functions page, and we didn't talk too much about that, but this is something that's going to be important. So we're going to set up the categories list right here, and so you can type that out. And then now what we need to do is write an if statement. I'm going to go ahead and set the basic syntax of that up. All right, and then inside the if statement, I'm just going to paste this real quick. So what we're looking for is, all right, if categories lists exists, and it should here. Okay, so if it exists and, all right, that's what this double ampersand is. So and topcat categorized blog function is, if basically is it a categorized blog. If those two things are true, then we're going to print the categories. This is where I'm going to add the little icon. Let's go ahead and say echo, and I'm going to go ahead and right here we need to start a span tag whose class equals byline. All right. And then the other thing too, then I'm going to leave a space to concatenate this. It's going to give me an error because I need something in here. I'll come back and I'll fill in the blanks in just a second, but then I'm going to start up a new string, and I'm going to end that span. So we're going to say end span. So this way I think it'll just be easier for you to see the basic HTML, and then I'll go and fill the other stuff back in. And then I'm going to start a new span, and this is where I'm going to say class, class equals, and then we'll call this cat-links. All right, and that's going to be for the category links. And again, this is one of those things where I'm going to concatenate. I'm going to leave a blank space, and then I end up ending the span. All right, so, and then I need to end the statement with a semicolon. There's some things that are missing. So there's something at the very beginning that I'm going to put in. I'm going to copy up here this icon, right, where I've got, you know, and the extra spaces. So I'm going to copy that FA user icon and the 2 non-breaking spaces. I'm going to paste that in, but I'm going to change where it says FA user, and I'm going to change it to something called th-list, th-list, and that is going to be like a little list icon. All right, that's one of the Font Awesome icons, and then we'll have some non-breaking spaces, and then that'll go into our byline span. And then the thing that we need to call out here in this concatenated part is some regular PHP stuff. And it's going to be 2 underscores, 2 consecutive underscores, right? And then we're going to pass 2 arguments, and I'll put a comma, and I'll go ahead and put both of these. So the first argument is going to be where it says categories, and I'm going to put a colon there. And the second argument is going to be topcat. All right, and this is again to list out those categories. Now, then the next thing that we have to go over here and do in this second place where we are concatenating is we are just basically going to concatenate out this categories list. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and that's going to get echoed out right there. All right, so that should be all the parts of speech, and I can just double check it going through it one more time. So let's read through this again, make sure I didn't misspell anything or anything like that. So what we've got is in this first string set, we've got our font awesome icon, and it's using the FA -th list font. And then it ends the icon, and then we've got two non-breaking spaces, and then we start with our span tag for the byline, so it's the class equals byline, and then we end that string right there, and then we're using a concatenation mark, and we're going to call out the categories. Oh, you know what? I did misspell this. This is not supposed to say categories. It's supposed to say category, colon, top cat. All right, and this is going to this passes information into WordPress that it needs to know. All right, and then we're going to concatenate that with another string that ends that span, starts a new span whose class equals cat links, and then we're going to end that string, concatenate that by printing the category list, which is the categories underscore list right there, concatenate that with the string that ends the span. All right, and so we're good there. All right, and so the last thing that we need to do, you might have remembered that there was a little edit button. It would be nice to put a little like pencil icon on the edit button too. So let's come down here after this this internal if statement. That's the internal if statement, and we're gonna let's just drop down another line, and we're gonna say echo, and we're gonna say edit underscore post underscore link, and then that's going to pass inside of that. There are going to be a couple of parameters, right? And so and we can go ahead and actually terminate that too, so that it's terminated. And then the parameters that are going to go inside, the first one is going to be this call out, and it's going to be to edit, and that's going to be in right, that's going to be in single quotes, and then a comma, and the second parameter then for that is going to be top cat. Oops, let's see here, top cat, like that. All right, and then that's actually right there, just so you know, that's the first parameter, and so after that we're going to put a comma, and then the second parameter is going to be a string, and it's going to be a whole bunch of this other like goofy nonsense, you know, all of this kind of stuff, this HTML with the icon. All right, and so let's just come on down here and type it. So I'm going to just paste in the icon that we're going to use. So it's the same icon as before, except that for the specialty class, it's FA-pencil-square-O, as in the like lowercase letter O. And just, you know, one of the things you're going to know need to know right off the bat is that in the very beginning, you're going to probably want a pipe that separates, you know, from the other things. And we can also go ahead and have some non-breaking spaces. So I'll do my NB SP, right? And then let's just do a couple of those just to be succinct. And then I probably want a couple of those after this icon as well. And then I need to say span class equals edit. And here's the thing that's going to happen now. I'm going to end that right there, but I still have one more parameter to pass. And that parameter is also going to be a string, and it's going to be end span. And you might be wondering, like, why can't I just string that together? Well, it's because this comma is it's passing on yet another parameter, so that the stuff that's going to get filled is going to get filled in between those two things, right? So anyway, what we can do is we can take a look at this, and as I said before, I like to go back and double check my syntax, so let's do that really quick. So we've got echo, and then we have edit underscore post underscore link, and then we're passing some parameters into this function. So the first parameter is going to be this one where it's a call to edit top cat, and then there's a comma, and then a string where we've got some spaces with the icon, some more spaces, and the beginning of the span with the edit class. and that ends that string, and then we have another comma, and passing the third parameter is a string that says end span. Okay, and then that should do it. Let's save that. Let's just test it. Let's put it up there. Okay, and let's come back now and let's do a test. We'll hit refresh, and you can see right now we've got, if I open this up, let's close this actually. You can see that I've got my little icons showing up, and I've got all this stuff working just fine, right? So, and you see now where these pipes are coming in, and so like if you decided that you wanted, you know, more space in between each of these, you could put more non-breaking spaces, for instance, like right before the end of this pipe. So if we wanted to jump back there and do that really quickly, we could. So let's go back real quick to Dreamweaver, and we'll see where all of those pipes are. In fact, if I just wanted to do a search really quickly, let's do, I'm just going to select all of this, for instance, and I can do a find, and I can do a pipe. I'm going to find all. And so if you jump here, it shows me in my selected area, like on line 107, for instance, if I double click that, it jumps to the pipe. And if I want, I can add some more like of the non-breaking spaces there. So I can add that if I want right there in front as well, in front of the pipe. And then if I go to the next one, it shows me this one. I can add space around that. Jump to this one. Let's see, and if I can take a peek really quick, and I can go, okay, yeah, the one right before edit also needs it, so let's jump back. We'll add that. I think that was the last one. And we can come back and hit refresh again. And you see that there is more room now, so that looks good.